Hello everyone and welcome. So let's take this tax calculator tool for a ride. We are gonna take a look at some examples. I've also covered these examples in this blog, which is linked in the description of this video. So here are some examples, right? So how do you open the tool? You can go ahead and there's a link. You can just go ahead and open that in the new tab. There's also a set of instructions that are provided, but all of that we are actually going to cover in this demo anyways. So let's go ahead and close that. So for the first example, what we are going to do is, so the total income is 15.5 lakhs. And then we have some deductions, 1.5 lakh for ATC, 1.8 lakh for rent, 60,000 for employer NPS contribution, altogether 3.9 lakhs. New regime deductions, you can only claim 60,000 from it because you cannot claim ATC and rent in the new regime, right? And I'm going to choose the current financial year, which is 2022-23, where the budget 2023 is not applicable. And let's check what happens. Okay, so 15. Okay, so 15.5 lakhs. I'm going to say and 60,000. So let's go ahead and calculate. So notice that it gives the summary of tax calculations. So here the old regime is better. You are actually for this particular configuration going to save more than 41,000 rupees in the way of taxes. Here it shows you what is the taxable amount for the old regime, right? What is the total tax payable and what is the net tax rate, and then it shows you the tax slabs, and then notice this amount is actually what is considered here, tax liability from slabs, and then basically in addition to that cess and surcharge, which is 0 in this case, and then that's that, right? So now let's look at the new regime calculations, right? And all the same items are here as well, and net and net you end up saving 41,080 rupees by using the old regime. So you can choose the old regime, right? Now if everything else is the same, but if we use the new budget, which is only applicable for the next financial year and onwards, if that doesn't change after that, if we go ahead and calculate the same, so that is basically our example 2, where we keep the data as is, right, from the example above, which is what we took, and then go ahead and what we did was we actually changed this to 2023 onwards. We calculated again. Notice that here the new regime is much more beneficial, even though we have huge deductions for old regime. The reason for that is because if you scroll down, notice that the new year or the new budget has actually introduced a standard deduction in the new regime of 50,000 rupees, right? And that comes in to save, around 7,800 rupees worth of tax, right? So that's another example. Of course, you can, add your own details here and check, which regime seems best for you for this year, this financial year, or for the next year, right? Again, we don't really store any of this data, so you can use it. We have also called it out in the disclaimers below. So let's go ahead and look at the example 3. So let's say this is another one where people get confused a lot. So let's say you have 7 lakh income. So right, and let's say you had ATC as your main deduction, and then for this, let's say there is no deduction, right? Now notice that for this year, if you did this, right, the old regime and the new regime, there's a huge difference, right? The old regime is actually much better for you. In fact, you're saving more than 20,000 rupees by not opting for new regime, right? For a 7 lakh income, right? But if you chose 2023 onwards and calculate, notice that for new regime, you are not charged any tax. So definitely next year onwards, if somebody's income is 7 lakh rupees, right, and they don't claim any deductions, they actually end up not paying any taxes, right? So it's pretty good that way. So these are the main differences, right, between the old regime, new regime, obviously, but also between this year's budget and the previous budgets, right? So yeah, that's what we want to cover. Please go through this blog for more details. We have covered the same examples that were here, but obviously you can go ahead and actually try out for your situation, right? And yeah, so please go through the blog and please share it, the tax calculator, with somebody who can use it. So thanks very much.